let's go ahead and sort of kind of get started on the presentation. This is going to be the first installment of my Mastering Wellness, Wealth and Wellness series. This one's building habits to strengthen your plan for 2026. And before I get into the actual presentation, let me just quickly tell you about who I am and the company that I work for. I'll start with my company. I'm with Holborn Assets, and we are an award-winning global financial services firm. Our focus is crystal clear, providing quality financial advice and wealth management solutions specifically designed for the international expat community. Now, as a family-owned company, we serve over 20,000 clients worldwide, supported by a network of 18 international offices. Obviously, I'm in the Bangkok office, supported with over 450 dedicated personnel, and we're all committed to putting your needs first. As far as myself, at this point, I've been working in finance for as long as I can remember, not to age myself. I started off working on Wall Street in New York City well over 25 years ago. While there, I worked my way up from various entry-level positions to head of compliance for TD Waterhouse Capital Markets before it became TD Ameritrade. And then for NYFIX Millennium before it was eventually purchased by the New York Stock Exchange. Growing up as a military child, my father was in the Air Force. Traveling around the world was nothing new to me, but it was my interest in Thai boxing which brought me to Southeast Asia. And after spending only a couple of months here, I fell in love with the simplicity of the people and its culture, which is how I ended up relocating here permanently. Now, these days, my life revolves around three very, very simple things: work, my family, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Jiu-Jitsu is a martial art that is primarily based on grappling on the ground. It is something that I'm absolutely passionate about and something I normally talk about nonstop. However, in the interest of time and not wanting to bore you, I won't go into too much detail about how it has changed mine and so many other people's lives today. But please tune in for my future webinars, and I will certainly probably be talking about it a lot more. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. So 2026 is right around the corner. And I know many of you are already thinking about changes, whether it's lifestyle changes like diet and fitness or financial changes. Some of you are looking to embark on your financial journey, while others of you are seasoned investors looking to optimize and modify your existing plan. Why am I grouping wealth and wellness together? Well, if you follow me on LinkedIn or on Facebook, you know I often connect the two because they share the same DNA. The same steps you take to ensure your health is optimized are the same ones that ensure your finances are resilient. Because let's be honest, what's the point of a bulletproof financial plan if you haven't taken the steps to ensure you're healthy enough to enjoy the fruit of your long-term planning? Now, let's talk about New Year's resolutions. Now, while they give us clarity on what we should be working on, to be perfectly honest, I'm not a fan of them at all. And here's why. Anytime you give yourself an excuse to push something important, your health, your wealth, further down the road, you're setting yourself up for failure. The drop-off in gym attendance from January to February is astonishing. I've witnessed it myself, and it happens in finance too. Waiting for New Year's resolutions to jumpstart where you are in your wealth and wellness journey is simply another form of procrastination. Now, I'm sure if you reflected for only just a moment, you can name any number of things that you've been putting off. I know I do it all the time myself. It happens to each and every one of us. Falling victim to procrastination is not unique to anyone. But if you really want to overcome it and show yourself you're serious about that next phase of your life, you must start today. Now, why do we procrastinate? Because anytime you're endeavoring to do something new, even when it's something that's beneficial, we often face a bit of fear or nervousness of the unknown. But we have to remind ourselves that we humans are incredibly resilient. Whatever that thing is that you keep telling yourself that you can't do or that you keep putting off, I guarantee you can do it. But you have to decide, and you have to decide that you're going to start now. When your alarm goes off in the morning, swing your feet to the floor and stand up. Don't hit snooze, because that simple action, getting up when your mind screams 5 more minutes, tells your whole system, hey, this is what we're doing, period, full stop. Your body and mind will accept it. And with consistency, they acquiesce, and eventually the resistance will fade. Procrastination in health and wellness can cost you dearly. The more you delay prioritizing this critical component to life, the more difficult it will be for you to get yourself on track and to where you should be. What's the old adage? The best time to start is yesterday. The next best time is today. The same idea applies when it comes to your finances. Now, please allow me to go off on a small tangent that powerfully illustrates the importance of starting now. This is the story of 2 investors. We'll call them Chris and Dana, both needing pots of money for their retirement at the age of 65. Early in his career, at the age of 30, Chris is lucky enough to speak with a financial advisor. Maybe it was a handsome guy from New York City who he spoke with. But he explains to him the importance of starting an investment plan sooner rather than later. Now, at the time, he's earning a moderate salary and commits to contributing only $200 per month for 20 years. Now, typically, investors will increase their contributions as their careers evolve and their lifestyles change. But since this is meant to only be an example, we're going to take a look at as if he never increases his contribution in those 20 years. In fact, in this example, just to really drive home the point, he stops contributing at the age of 50. So he contributes nothing for the last 15 years up until his retirement. Dana, on the other hand, is like so many of us, fully focused on her career. Nothing inherently wrong with that, such is life. But she doesn't get around to saving for her retirement until the age of 55. Now, obviously, she would need to contribute at a more aggressive level to make up for lost time. To make this example easily digestible, let's say she contributes double the amount as Chris, $400 per month, for 10 years until she retires at the age of 65. So, at this point, we have 2 investors who have both contributed the same amount of money, which is $48,000. For illustrative purposes, just for example, we'll assume that they're getting a 7% average return. Dana's $48,000 investment grows to a little over $67,000, which is not too bad, nothing to sneeze about. But Chris's $48,000, even sitting untouched for 15 years, grows to just over $134,000. Chris's investment just about doubled Dana's, even though he stopped contributing 15 years earlier. This not only demonstrates the power of the time value of money, but it also shows you that you don't have to start big, $200 versus $400. You just have to start early. Procrastination is the single most expensive habit that you can have. Another source of procrastination is that if whatever you want to do or start feels too hard, you'll be inclined to delay it. This is an example of having a high barrier of entry. The fitness or financial goal seems too big. The best thing to do in this situation is to break it down into bite-sized chunks. You know what you want to achieve, but you don't want to make it so far outside of your comfort zone that it paralyzes you into not even wanting to try it. This is when you should be kind to yourself and lower the bar just a bit as to make it lower just a bit so as to make the seemingly unreachable within your proverbial grasp. Here's where you can implement my 3-in-2 strategy for your fitness goals. What is the 3-in-2 strategy? It is the minimum viable commitment framework that I developed for my own fitness journey. It's a way of breaking down new pursuits into bite-sized chunks, but more importantly, it's a way to build life-changing habits. 3-in-2 stands for 3 days per week for 2 months. Now, why does this work? Because when you tell yourself that you're only going to try something out for a few days a week over a couple of months, it doesn't sound too intimidating. 3 days for 2 months? I can do that. I love this strategy because on the surface, it doesn't sound daunting. It's what the author David Data calls leaning just beyond your edge. You want the goal to be outside of your comfort zone, but only just beyond it. Embraceable fear. It's not running a marathon. It's committing to a brisk walk 3 days a week for the next 2 months. But you commit to doing this without fail. And you're actually giving yourself an out. You're telling yourself that after this small 2-month commitment period, that you will reassess how you're feeling and if you're going to choose to continue or not. But here's the spoiler alert. I will bet you dollars to donuts that instead of wanting to stop after 2 months, you'll feel empowered to do more. Why? Because it's become a habit and you're feeling the results, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. So how does the 3 and 2 framework apply to your financial goals? Conceptually, it works, but practically, the commitment is longer. Now we're talking about 10 to 20 years. But the most important first step is still starting with a lower barrier of entry. You may decide to start with a small, comfortable investment amount when starting a new investment plan or a new strategy. As you become more comfortable, you can always increase your investment commitments. Again, since we know the beginning will be challenging and met with some level of resistance, the key is to start with a small, achievable barrier of entry. This brings us to our next obstacle to overcome now that you've made that decision and now you've got some fuel in your tank, having a clear goal. What are you looking to achieve? While these goals should be clearly defined, here's the good news. They don't need to be very lofty goals. As usual, start off with small, manageable goals. This ties in directly with overcoming the high entry barrier obstacle. A non-specific goal would be, I want to eat healthier. A more specific yet manageable goal would be to say, I want to see how my body reacts if I cut out these foods from my diet while including these foods. Now, I love this framework again because notice how you're telling yourself that you want to try this new thing out. Instead of saying, I need to move my body more, give yourself a more specific goal. I want to see what it feels like to incorporate walking into my life, yoga, that martial art that you always thought looked cool. My goal is to give it a try and see how it feels and if I like it. For finances, it could be something as simple as, shameless plug, speak with a financial advisor to see what is available for myself and my family in terms of financial planning. At the root, you're giving yourself clear, actionable goals that you can implement right away. Planning is where we tie all the previous points in together. Now we've decided this is what we're doing. We've simplified our barrier of entry and we have manageable goals we're looking to achieve. Now it's time to come up with the actual plan. Now, as you probably can guess, the best thing to do is to simplify everything. One example of this may be, for instance, if you decided you want to go to the gym, pack your bag the night before and place it next to the door. That very simple action can really make all the difference because not only does this save time, but it signals your will. It tells your body and mind, this is what we're doing tomorrow. The action is already set in motion. This is how you lower the friction. If you're changing your diet, prep your meals for the week. Write them down. Know exactly what you will be eating for the week and what times you'll be eating them. Walking into a gym with no real plan can be very intimidating. But if you have a plan, especially a written one, it gives you a bit of confidence and comfort. And the more detailed and concise your plan, the more confident you will feel. This also may be the point where you may consider working with a personal trainer to design an optimized plan specifically for you. I've often made the correlation between working with a personal trainer for achieving your health and wellness goals with working with an advisor for your financial goals. I like to think of myself as a financial personal trainer in that regard. In finance, there is a commonly known tool to develop a financial plan called a fact find. I like to refer to it as a financial roadmap because it provides a clear vision of where you are today, where you want to be, and the best way to get you there. The other benefit of this financial roadmap is that it provides you with an opportunity to take an objective look at your current financial position. Again, you need a plan, and the first part of developing a plan is assessing where you are currently with absolute clarity. Completing a financial roadmap is an excellent way to achieve that. Our final obstacle is no tracking or reflection. Now, why is this critical? Because without feedback, progress is invisible and motivation fades. In fitness, tracking your progress, whether it's logging a new personal record, seeing improved endurance on your daily walk, or just reflecting on how much better you feel after 2 months of consistency, is when the rewards start to creep in. Progress promotes that innate desire to keep pushing forward. We apply the same principle to your wealth plan, but we must track the right things. It's tempting to track your portfolio's daily returns, but for a 10 or 20-year investment plan, that's meaningless noise that causes anxiety. We don't track the daily movement. We track the health and alignment of the plan itself. The financial correlation for tracking and reflection is committing to periodic strategic reviews. You need to periodically check, is my investment plan still aligned with my life goals? Maybe you got a job, had another child, or decided to move to a new country. Those are major life events that require reflection. This reflection is crucial because it allows you to adjust the rudder before your plan drifts off course. Also, reviewing your plan annually or semi-annually to see the compound growth over time, not daily, is when the reward becomes tangible. This visualization of long-term progress gives you the psychological fuel to continue your consistent contributions, just like seeing your strength increase at the gym. Tracking and reflection are your checkpoints. They reinforce the value of the discipline you've already implemented, providing you that small, consistent habits are compounding over time in your portfolio and in your life. So these are the most common obstacles that I've been able to identify. Habits compound in wealth and in health and in life. Is it easy? No. If it was easy, then gyms would be packed and everyone would be financially set for life. But unfortunately, there will be days that you simply will not want to do anything. This is where you have to rely on your discipline. Discipline leads to a habit, and good habits make the work easier and truly rewarding. The secret for building a successful framework is to not overcomplicate it, especially in the beginning. Just keep it simple. Procrastination is countered by decision. The solution to obstacles, to resistance, is to plan it, start it, track it, adjust it. Your success in 2026 depends entirely on the small, consistent habits that you build today. The single most impactful habit you can form today is to get clarity. I am offering you the ultimate low barrier entry, a free, no obligation 2026 Wealth and Wellness Alignment session. This is where we start your financial roadmap together. In our first discussion, we would just have a conversation. I'll ask questions to get an idea of where you are in your financial journey and what you're looking to achieve. This is also your opportunity to ask me questions. I'll probably bore you with a story about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But in the end, we're getting to know one another to identify any potential synergies. At the end of the day, again, you are not obligated to do anything aside from making an informed decision based on our conversations. My low barrier of entry as an advisor is not to convert everyone I speak with into clients, but to clearly outline a strategy so that they can make an informed decision. I study Stoicism, And the basic principle is to only focus on what you have control over. I cannot control if you choose to work with me or not, but I can control how I present myself and my investment planning and strategies. The rest is up to you. So you see there's my QR code there on the screen. If you wanted to book a session with me, feel free to take a shot with your phone. Also, I've included the link to my calendar in the quote in the chat box. Pardon me, in the chat box. So feel free to again schedule yourself for a one-on-one session with me. Before I start answering any questions or before I let you guys go, I did want to leave you off with this quote from David Data, because to be honest with you, this is what sort of inspired this whole presentation. When I read it, when I came across it, I just thought it was super powerful. And I had already sort of started the framework of the presentation, but I knew that I really wanted to include the leaning beyond your edge into the presentation. So I hope that it resonates with you. And I hope that you can see the benefit in this particular quote, because I think it's a wonderful quote. So I'll stop my sharing. Actually, I'll leave this on for a little bit longer just to make sure. If you wanted to, again, take a shot of the QR code to set up a meeting, that would be great. Obviously, I'd be happy to speak to each and every one of you. Let me see if there are any questions. Like I said before, this is really just sort of a framework. So I'm not really expecting a whole lot of questions, but I appreciate everyone for the well wishes and the thank yous for this presentation. It is something that is very dear to me. It's something that this is who I am. This is how I live my life. I'm up in the morning, every morning, meditation, to the gym, no phone, no social media, no phones until after I've completed my workout. So this presentation is really speaks to who I am, both professionally as well as personally. And also, please stay tuned, because I am having some. This is the first of a series on wealth and wellness, of mastering wealth and wellness. So I look forward to seeing everyone in the future.